to another video presented by Raven Expeditions. Please subscribe to my channel and share this video to support my work. A weird feature found only in the Temple of Hathor in Dendera, Egypt, and nowhere else in other Egyptian temples is the subterranean crypt that houses what have become known as the Dendera Lightbulbs, which have given rise to much controversy in recent years. This is, however, not the only crypt in the temple, since the complex has several other crypts, some underground like this one, while others situated above ground, enclosed within the massively thick walls of the temple itself. It's claimed that there are 14 such crypts, 11 of which are decorated. Most are, however, closed to the public, which is admittedly pretty annoying. As was easily visible while descending in this crypt, entering requires us to go down a steep staircase. Being short worked in my favor, since it's also necessary to bend over in order to enter. In antiquity, these chambers were typically accessed via secret trapdoors in the ground of the temple itself. It seems that these were hidden by sliding blocks of the perimeter wall. Pretty ingenious. There have been several interpretations about these crypts in general. It has often been suggested that they were the dwelling place of goddess Hathor, to whom this temple complex is dedicated, and where her statue, the temple's precious treasures, and ritual objects were stored for safekeeping. They were also where the New Year's processions began, commemorating the beginning of creation. Many of the decorations in the crypt feature the sistrum, which is a musical instrument pretty much like a rattle that was sacred to goddess Hathor. What truly amazes me about this place is the many depictions of scenes and deities in the ancient Egyptian pantheon in such an enclosed space. The crypt is long and narrow, almost claustrophobic. It afforded hardly any space for the workers to do their job properly, and surely very few could fit inside at one time. Besides, it's underground and obviously has no natural light. How did they accomplish all this? As I already established at the beginning of the video, this crypt is particularly famous for the depiction of the so-called Dendera Lightbulbs. Some have suggested that they are evidence that the ancient Egyptians had harnessed electricity. This hypothesis is generally rejected by mainstream Egyptology. However, it's still a popular theory among alternative researchers who believe that the images show a lotus socket at the end, a cable traveling underneath, and a snake-shaped cord filament inside. This is basically what they see, and it is proof enough for them that this is a sure sign of electricity. However, the counter-argument provided by Egyptologists is that we cannot ignore the text and inscriptions surrounding the reliefs. They are also part of the story here. Indeed, they are key to understanding the message the scenes are conveying. Without the context, we cannot analyze the scenes. So, both images and text must be treated as one whole thing, one complementing the other. Egyptologists explain that the inscriptions around the reliefs are telling us that Har-Samtus, another creator god, whose name translates into Horus, the unifier of the two lands, is the snake rising from the lotus flower, with his body being carried by the jet pillar on the barge. This barge is what alternative theorists refer to as the cable. It thus becomes easier for us to realize that many symbols in the so-called Dendera Lightbulbs are in actual fact associated with Egyptian mythology, particularly the creation myth, which was very important to the ancient Egyptians. We can even extend this to the wider context and consider the use of the temple itself in antiquity. The yearly procession celebrated the dawn of creation. These scenes here are thus a representation of the birth of creation, hence permeating the entire temple complex. In all honesty, I am inclined to believe that these are symbolic scenes. The ancient Egyptians were masters at this, and these reliefs are no exception. My take on them is that looking at them as merely evidence of electricity is an insult to the ancient Egyptians, who spoke in a different esoteric language in their art and depictions. Why would these reliefs be otherwise? Granted, there could be varying interpretations of the symbolism they portray, since, as can be observed, these reliefs are truly intricate. However, interpreting them as simply electricity bulbs, which would be a very obvious interpretation for us today, could be highly anachronistic. We must speak the language of the ancient Egyptians, divesting ourselves of the knowledge and technology that we have today. We must think in terms of what they saw, how they lived, how they conveyed their messages in their monuments and structures. Only then can we begin to understand them and decipher their messages and symbols. Yes, the objects in the reliefs are reminiscent of giant light bulbs, but we can only use this interpretation today because we know what a light bulb looks like, and it's pretty obvious to us. Could it be that the ancient Egyptians symbolized their creation myth in these reliefs in a fashion which evokes our modern image of a light bulb? Of course, this is but my humble opinion, and surely many out there have theirs and might disagree with me. This video is thus an invitation to offer yours. What do you think? Are these light bulbs, or are they symbolic, representing something esoteric, something far deeper?